I would now like to welcome the next keynote speaker, Bwana Omar Mohamed, the MD, Kenya Safari Lodges. So please join me in welcoming him with a big clap. Bwana Omar.
First is to express my appreciation to the University of Nairobi for inviting me to come and give some insights and maybe my contribution to this very important event. You've heard my name is Mohamed Omar. I am the person in charge of Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels. These are hotels owned majorly by the government of Kenya. But if I mention names, maybe we will know them. And there are 3 in number as at now. One is Mombasa Beach Hotel. The other one is Voi Safari Lodge. And the last one is Ngulia Safari Lodge. When I got the invitation, I really did not know what is it that I was going to come and talk about. Then I just called in my assistant, my PA, and I said, I have this invitation. What do you want me to go and talk about? She said, no, it's the world of technology, let's Google. And since there was a word AIBUMA, I think she just went to Google and Googled that word. And immediately we got some material. We got the contacts of the dean. We sent an email to the dean. Then we got quite a number of topics that I could think of. As I was preparing to pick one, at that time I landed on 3 topics. But that was about, because the invitation was in March, so it must be around April there. And I picked 3. One was called 3D service. And when you talk 3D, especially with the .com, we know the issues of 3D movies and 3D TVs. The other one was something touching on entrepreneurship. So I picked up an item that says 7 habits that make, opportunities happen. And finally, I said, I'm in an environment where I'm surrounded by people, especially hotel business or hospitality and tourism business. It is all but the people. I am in the middle. I have the clients who are the guests, which are very important for me. Then I have the employees on this other side. I have my stakeholders, preferably the board of directors and whoever is also my superiors on another side. And then I have suppliers, entertainers, taxi drivers, people who give you vegetables and fruits, So I'm just surrounded by people. So I said, okay, let me settle on a point or a topic that really touches on people. And out of all these people, I decided to land on employees. I said, let me talk about employees. The audience that is here, I believe you are already, or if not, you are the future, either employers or employees. Because the trend now is you are being taught not just to go out there and look for a job. We are even expecting you to go and create jobs. So I went through, out of my experience, the reading that I have done, and I landed to a gentleman that I used to follow a lot on blog. And as I said, this is a .com technology. So in the morning I had people talking. I had not reached, but I was somewhere and I could watch it on NTV. And I saw someone talking about the Y generation. You are almost short of calling them .com generation. So based on that, I said, fine, I want to come here and talk about the employees. And what is it that if we do to employees, they actually make them to feel more so motivated, engaged, and finally feel united or unified. And then I remember this gentleman by the name Arte Nathan. I read some time back, in the blog, an article that he wrote. And this Arte Nathan was one of a very well-known HR practitioner in the US, and mostly in our business of hotels. He was once the chief of human resources officer in brands such as Wynn Hotel or Mirage Hotels and Resorts. And he's one person that each time I read about what he writes, he really dwells so much on making employees a very critical part of any organization. So I'll try and just share the highlights that I picked out of all this. Today, if you were to ask any organization, what is important, and as far as your business is concerned, what is it that really you must put into consideration when you're either opening a business or when you're running a business? Majority will tell you location. Others will tell you products and services. And by the way, they are right. If you ask others, they will tell you we need to focus on our brand strategies, big names. Others will tell you pricing, and so forth and so forth. But the chances are that very minimal of such people that you talk to will talk about the people's management or human capital that is being called today. So they will leave out this aspect of employees, which is very, very critical. If your employees are motivated, they feel engaged as part of the organization, the chances are they'll save you a lot, because one, there will be some role models, even to other employees around. Two, there will also be some form of your advertising. You've seen people over the weekend wearing or donning themselves in T-shirts, of certain organizations, capes. It doesn't mean that these people have no clothes. It's on a Sunday. They can choose to wear anything. But why will they wear that KISS FM T-shirt, for example, or Kenya Safari Lodges and Hotels? They will only do so if they feel they are part and parcel of that organization. And it makes them to feel proud. And those that do, by the way, they will be puffing up, like peacocks, talking about how great the organization is and that they're very proud to be associated with that organization. And those that don't will end up having, slumping of their shoulders, and they will continue whining and complaining to anybody that they see. Based on that, I thought, let me come and share some of these steps or ways that if you do try to practice, either as a leader, a manager, an employer, then at least we will be able to achieve what we are looking for. I almost wanted to be tempted to go the Patrick way of give you that PowerPoint presentation, but then I thought, no, his was too much. He even gave Osama bin Laden there. So I said, the best thing is let me just read what I wanted. By the way, he is right. Osama bin Laden changed the world. Today, I just flew in from Mombasa from my office, and you imagine a very senior person or an old man behaving like a kid, removing belts in an airport just because of what has happened. We are forced to remove in front, a man, in front of a woman, and you are removing, your belt, removing everything. You are being put through a scanner machine just because of one man. So I decided I'm not going to give you the presentation, but in case the Dean so wishes, I will hand over this PowerPoint presentation later on for circulation. So, what is the first step or a way that you make these employees feel engaged, motivated, and feel that they're part and parcel of this organization? What you need to do is basically to clearly define your vision. If you're a leader, manager, make sure that you really define what your vision is. And this vision is basically the roadmap to the employees that work for you or with you. Then it needs to be very clear. While it's probably very clear to you, how well do you think that your colleagues and your subordinates know what this vision is? If you go to any organization, ask what is our vision. Very few people will tell you that. But it is important that you take time to write it down, show it, among the people that you are with. And once you know it is very clear and it is concise, then you need to post it in the places where all this important information employees would get a chance to have a look at. So that is first and foremost. For you to be able to move your organization forward, then what you know should be what everybody knows in that organization, and then it becomes easier for us to move forward. The second item or step or way, though debatable, but it is also necessary that we look at it. What you need to do is also give employees what they want and need. When I tried to share this with my own employees, some of my managers immediately started, jumping up and down, telling me, we can't give everything that they want, how? We will fall, we'll go down. And I said, no. Look at what the sector that you are in, look at the average of whatever is being given out there, but make sure that you give these employees so that they feel they are part and parcel of this organization. But I want you to think for a moment, if we were to introduce a reality show, these too many reality shows that are happening in the world. If today Patrick has a branch in Kakamega and he's not known, look for a scenario where Patrick goes and undercover as an employee. But he's not known because maybe nobody out of Nairobi's office really know him. Then it works. If he was to go to undercover and work with some of his or employees, I'm sure it will be amazing, even to him. He will get a great shock. Some of these bosses will really be shocked at how hard and work really is. Yeah? They will really find how hard that work really is and how little their employees are provided to get that work done efficiently and effectively. We are talking about things like tools of business. We're talking about training. We'll be talking about support, and more so, even sensitive understanding from their superiors. I'm sure that will not be there. And that is the only time you realize that even the people we have, some of them really go to strides that really they put a lot of energy to make what we expect them to do. But these things is really what employees are expecting. So to tackle that, please do not assume that you know what they want. Sometimes it doesn't cost you a thing just to go there, check personally, and if you realize they don't have what they need, make an effort at least to provide, if possible, even immediately. The third item or step that make this employee feel engaged is basically that we talk about communication. You need to communicate often and well. And if we ask, how do we communicate? I am sure you will hear people telling you their newsletters. Others will say we write memos and letters and circulate and distribute all over. Others will tell you we communicate by calling people in the training rooms and train them. Others will say, no, we are technologically advanced, so we will use internet to communicate. The question is, do you have a portal as a company? And if you do have, how often are your employees getting the access to this portal? That they can read what you are saying, they can give you feedback or comments. So all these should be really be the way of us using in terms of communicating or conveying our vision to the organization. But what is also important is that you need to spend time personally asking your employees what they know and think. And if the responses show that they are unaware or confused, because I'm sure there will be some who will not even understand what you're saying, then go back on the drawing board and try and redesign this message so that at least you are able to give it out to your employees. Another item that I thought I should also mention is that you need to get everyone engaged in that organization. Don't expect much from employees who don't feel connected. I think it's obvious. You might go around, but these people are not connected. They are not part of you. Everybody talks about empowerment. If today you ask, what is the best way of making your employee feel great? And I'm sure a majority of the organizations or leaders, managers, they will tell you the word empowerment. We have to empower our people. Not knowing that empowerment is so yesterday. People are now moving from empowerment to engagement. And today's successful companies, if you are to read about them, those that probably are in the list of most admired companies globally, you'll find that they have one thing in common, and that is motivated employees. And these companies that we read about have lots of ways to get employees at all levels engaged in issues such as planning and even decision making. That way they own the things that they do. And owners will always make an effort even to improve what these guys are doing. Another issue here that I needed to share with you is stay the course. You need to stay the course. We have too many organizations that keep on changing. They change things all the time. And when you ask them, they say, no, we need to adapt ourselves to the new things that are happening. Yes, it is true and it is right. But there are some organizations that change stuff because they are uncertain about what they are doing. That scares employees. And what they have, or what they want to have, is confidence in the work that they work, in the people that they work with. I've just been shown that probably my time is about to end, so I'll try to go very fast. Another item which rarely we do practice in organizations is that we need to practice random acts of kindness. People think rewarding people is just by calling employees of the month, give recognition, certificates. Yes, they work in other places. But even a simple thing as just tapping the back of an employee who has done well by recognizing it on the spot, that probably adds even more weight than waiting to be given this certificate that has become routine. And by the way, catching people doing things right is a very powerful philosophy and a motivator. You need to look for when these guys are actually doing the right things. Another item is coach for success. Everyone wants to do well, and most want and need guidance so that they can do that. Paying attention to work that others do, or giving them clear feedback and showing them how to be better when needed is very motivating. So don't wait for those annual reviews. You see something wrong, you wait until end of the year to sit with that person to do a performance appraisal. Then you start telling them, you remember in January, and you're talking in December. But you never told him. Another issue is act fairly. If you are really faced by two scenarios which are the same, then yes, it is expected that you should act the same way. But more so, these situations are never the same. So you can't continue saying that, I'm very consistent. And you end up taking a decision for another situation and use it for a wrong situation. I am sure if you were to reverse the roles, you wouldn't feel great for you to be treated unfairly. So I think it is important that whenever we are faced with situations, we act firm but fair. Inspect what you expect. That's another thing. You can only inspect what you expect. You can't go there to look for A while you told the people you are looking for Z. So employees don't care what you ask them to do, as long as they know you care. That's what they're interested in. And what better way to show that you care than paying attention to them, discussing what you see, and letting them know what you think. Everything that happens at work by every employee has a ripple effect to all of us. Give respect and create trust. It's another issue. Are people working with you or for you believe that you are a guy that they can trust, that you will care for when they come, you take care of their